Hello everyone, I'm Gordon. I'm a tour guide from my Taiwan tour. And now I'm going to spend about 10 minutes to introduce to you about the history and the culture of Taiwan. First, where is Taiwan? Taiwan is located on the east of China in between Japan and the Philippines. As you can see, this is the island of Taiwan, and around it there are several offshore islands. The mainland of Taiwan looks like a sweet potato, so we also call ourselves the children of sweet potatoes. And 70% of the island with mountains, so most people live on the west coast. And now I'm going to show you a picture of our beautiful mountains. First, this is called Drake Mountain, the highest mountain in Taiwan, almost 4,000 meters, located in the center of Taiwan. Next is the Chinshui Cliff. It's located on the east coast. As you can see, the cliff is almost vertical straight into the ocean. And the reason of this is because Taiwan is actually in between two plates. And 6 million years ago, one of the plates goes down, and then Taiwan was uplifted. Next, as you can see this big rock, what do you think it looks like? In Taiwan, we call this the Queen's Head because it looks like a head of the Egyptian queen. And this rock is actually 100% natural. Originally, the rock was underground, but 6 million years ago, it was uplifted. And after millions of years, erosion from the wind and the sea, and now it's formed like a queen's head. Very cool, right? And the last one I'd like to share with you is called Gaomei Wetland, located on the west. As I mentioned, most of the mountains located on the central and the east. The west part is more flat. We have lots of rice paddy and beautiful beaches, sandbars. Over there you can see very beautiful sunset. And next I'd like to introduce to you about our history. And Taiwanese history is about 400 years. Before 400 years, we mainly have indigenous people on this island. And our indigenous people, because they don't have written characters, so their history is hiding in their language and in their songs. The first people who arrived Taiwan and create the government is the Dutch in 1624, and it lasts 38 years. The reason they came to Taiwan because during the big sailing era, lots of Europeans they were attracted to Asia by the spice in the Southeast Asia and silver in Japan and tea and porcelain in China. And because, as I mentioned earlier, Taiwan is in between these three spots, so it's a great location for them. After Dutch arrived 2 years later, Spanish they occupied the north, and it lasted about 16 years. And the first time that Taiwan and mainland China was considered as one country was in 1683. During that time, it was the Qing dynasty. As you can see, there's a big dragon on it. And it lasted about 200 years. And also, during that time, lots of people from mainland China immigrated to Taiwan for a better life. So not only the people, but the culture, the food, were all introduced to Taiwan, mainly during that time. And besides the Qing dynasty, besides the Chinese people, Taiwan was also ruled by the Japanese for 50 years. In 1894, there's a war in between Japan and China. And at the end, because the Qing dynasty they lost the war, so the next year, they decided to give Taiwan to Japan. So in these 50 years, Japanese government actually developed Taiwan into a very modernized island, and lots of people were very well educated. But unfortunately, during the World War II, because we were part of Japan, so we get a lot of bombing, attack by the Allied. So during the war, most of the main cities in Taiwan was damaged very badly. After the war, Taiwan became part of China again, and during that time, as you can see, the flag changed. In China, in the mainland China, it was not Qing dynasty anymore. It was the Republic of China. But after the World War II, the government of Republic China started to fight against the Communism Party, and in 4 years they lost the mainland. And in 1949, during that time, the President Chiang Kai-shek retreated with about 1 million soldiers and families to Taiwan. And besides Taiwan, you might heard another name called Formosa. And Formosa is actually a name given by the Portuguese, not by Spanish or Dutch. And the reason of that was because about during the 15th centuries, when they traveled along the ocean, they found this beautiful island, and they shout "Illa Formosa," which means a beautiful island. And on this beautiful island, today we have different groups of people. First, as I mentioned earlier, our indigenous people. The picture here, they are the Amis from the west part of Taiwan, and they like to dance and celebrate during their harvest festival. And the second are the Han Chinese, also the majority of the people on this island. As you can see, during the Chinese New Year, people like to celebrate with the dance of dragons and lions. Besides the dancing, people also like to go to visit the temple, especially during the New Year's Eve. On the New Year's Eve, the door will be closed at the front of the temple, but right after the New Year's Day, the door will be open and people will run into the temple, and we believe the first one who put the incense into the incense burner will get all year luck. But if you didn't get the first, don't worry, you still get pretty good luck. And the third, because since about 20 years ago, we have more and more people that came from the Southeast Asia to work in Taiwan. And a lot of them are Muslim. And during the Eid al-Fitr, which is their new year, and now the government also introduced to the people about their culture and welcome everyone to join them. And the last, you probably heard of it before, which is the 101 firework on the New Year's Eve. And every year it gathered thousands of people at the front of 101, and we count down together and to see the beautiful fireworks. Next, 假爸爸, which means have you eaten, is a very common way to say hello in Taiwan, because Taiwan is also a great place for good food, and we have lots of night markets which serve great street food. And now I will pick some of my favorites to introduce to you. First is the stinky tofu. It's called stinky tofu because lots of people, when they first smell it, will be wondering, what's this? Does someone just take off their shoes? But I guarantee to you, the taste is a lot less stinky than the smell. Second is called sausage with sausage, with a pork sausage and a rice sausage. And in between we add some garlic and cucumber. Next, the stew dumpling is also called 小笼包. It's also very, very delicious. And when you have it, you can taste the pork and the pork together. But watch out, the soup could burn your tongue. And the next one is what we call 挂包. You can also call it Taiwanese hamburger. It's covered with a bao and inside with pork belly and pickled cabbage. After some salty food, I would like to introduce to you our dessert. First is the mango shaved ice. During the mango season, you can easily find it in every night market. And the last one is our worldwide famous bubble tea. It was created 30 years ago by accident, and now it's spread to all worldwide. Next, I would like to introduce to you the three things that we have the most in Taiwan. First are the temples. In Taiwan, there are over 15,000 temples. And during the weekend, you can often find different celebrations at the front of the temple. Second are the scooters. As I mentioned earlier, in Taiwan now we have about 24 million people, and there are 16 million scooters, which means at least every two people, there is one scooter. Scooter has become the most important way of transportation in Taiwan, and you can use the scooters to go everywhere and save lots of money from parking and lots of time to finding the parking space. The third, we have the most are convenience stores. In Taiwan, there are almost 11,000 convenience stores on the island, and often you can find two 7-Elevens on each side of the road. Now in Taiwan is a democratic country, but 70 years ago it wasn't like that. 70 years ago, when the government retreated from China to Taiwan, they worried the Communism Party might take over, so they sent lots of police and people were fully supervised, and people has no freedom of speech, even to sing a song you like or read a book you like. And in the 90s, people gathered together to fight to the government for their freedom. And in 1996, we finally have the chance to choose for our president. And in 2016, the first female president was elected. And last year, we celebrate because we passed the same-sex marriage, which makes us the first country that passed the law in Asia. And it also proves that now Taiwanese people are more open-minded and we accept different values. Besides the good food, the beautiful landscape I just showed you, and in Taiwan, in fact, the most beautiful thing are the people here. When you arrive, you'll feel the people's warm heart right away. And so this is my brief introduction of Taiwan. I'm looking forward to see you face to face. See ya!